This is a demonstration video on how to go about completing your composition task, composing around using the D Dorian mode. So head over to MuseScore and open a new score, and I'll just call mine Dorian Round. I'll create a new score from scratch so that I can select my instruments. I want 4 voice parts for our 4 vocal singing groups that we've been singing rounds in. Now the Dorian mode is the D Dorian mode is the second mode of C major, so we're going to use the key signature of C major. Now I'm going to be doing my one in 4/4, but you can do a different time signature if you feel like it. But it's an 8-bar composition, and so I'll make the number of measures 16 bars so that I can play it through twice. Okay, so just like we were looking at in the worked example, how we stacked up the 2-bar chunks of the melody on top of each other in the different parts. That way we can see what notes are going to be sounding at the same time more easily. So we'll do it first that way, and then we'll copy and paste things to make it into a melody. So I'm going to start by making the first beats of all the first bars the different notes of the D minor chord. So we want a D, F, and an A in there. So I'll press N to enter note entry mode, and I'm just going to go D, F, and A, and I need another note in this part, so I might just repeat the F. And we'll just do the same thing in this first beats of the second bar. So in this first part, I'm going to step it up and I'll do the F over here. So now we have to start thinking about the contour of what we're going to be doing. So seeing as this part is stepping up from one chord note to the next, if we do the same thing over here, that'll help us to make our parts flow together in thirds more nicely. So we'll step this F up to the next chord note, which is D, F, A. Okay, so now these two parts are starting to work in thirds. So in this part here, I'm going to do something a little bit different because we've got an F and an A, but we need a D. So I'll make this one a D. And we repeated the F last time, so this time I'll repeat the D in this bottom part here. Okay, so now we just want to get from this note to this note, the note in the middle. So I'm going to just I'll just do a big jump down to an A. So our contour is starting to look like down, up. This part here, I might do a little bit differently. I could jump all the way down to a note just above this one on the next line up, to C, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be a little bit different, and I'll just step down and then go back up, being in thirds. This part here, okay, now when you're doing your in-between notes here, you just want to be a little bit careful that you don't choose notes that are going to clash. So if I was to put a note in the middle here and make it an F, that F and that E are right next to each other, so that's not going to sound the best. So what I might do is I'm going to choose the note that's in between this one and this one. So that's an A, and that E is there. So I'm going to use the middle note, the C, to hopefully make this sound a little bit more nice. So I'll just step it down. There we go. So there's that C. And in this part here, it's going to a D. So I'll just step down F, E, D, and that's just going to be a repeat of this note here. So that shouldn't clash. Good. Okay, now we'll just fix up the ends of the second bar so that they link over to the next part. So this bar here needs to link over to here. So what I'm going to do, down, up. I might just do some stepping down, that's always good. So I'll get out of note entry mode so I can select this. I'm going to make that into a crotchet, and then I'll go over and step down to an E and do a minim, stepping down to a D. Okay, step, step, step. So I'll do the same thing here, because here we're in thirds. There's a note on the space and a note on the space below it. So I'll do the same idea here, so these two parts will be moving in thirds. Okay, so I'll turn this A into a crotchet, step it down to a G, then a minim F. Okay, so this part here, this D, goes over to this F, So that'll link up nicely if I just put in an E. But I might change the rhythm a bit. Because I've got lots of minims and crotchets, I might just mix things up a bit by making that a dotted minim, because there wasn't previously a note over here. Okay, so that just make things a little bit rhythmically different. And this one here, I'll end the phrase by just making that a longer note. Flap the whole bar. Okay, let's see how those parts sound all together. Okay, not bad. So what we can do is we can have a listen to how this sounds as a melody. If we select each part and Control X and Control V to cut and paste it into this top line here to make it into a melody. So I'll do that with the rest of the parts. So remember to shift. So you click the first note and then shift click to select a range, and then Control X to cut, Control V to paste. Cut and paste. Okay, let's hear our melody. So I can make this sound like it would if we sung in a round. If I select the whole melody, I'll just copy it straight afterwards to make it longer, and then on each part I'll paste it in again, starting from 2 bars in. So 2 bars after the first part, and then 2 bars after the next part, and then 2 bars after the next part. So there's a few bars here where we've got all the parts sounding together before they start trailing off, so we should be able to hear how it sounds once they all start singing together. So here we go. Okay, not bad. So that's the task. So you just follow those steps, and then you shouldn't go wrong. Okay, I look forward to hearing what you guys come up with, and good luck.